spiritually fit. Being spiritually fit. You know, some 20, 30 years ago, if we'd have talked about spiritual fitness language, we wouldn't have really heard it that much because it really wasn't on the mouth of a lot of people who were speaking, preaching the gospel. We had all the other different formats that were being used with the preaching, the teaching, the studying, and so on. And in those particular formats, which are extremely wonderful, there just wasn't that language yet. But recently, I'd say maybe within the last 10 years or so, we began to hear a lot of people who were teaching, whether it was behind the pulpit inside the church or whether it was on the internet. We began to hear more and more people ministering the word about spiritual fitness and drawing those parallels of fitness for our spirits to the physical so we could better understand what it was meaning and what God was really directing us towards by allowing this fitness term to start coming into the language of the church, was that God was up to something. God was up to something very big, and that bigness was that he was trying to get us as a body of Christ, a corporate body of believers, he was trying to get us to start moving toward this idea of what it meant to be spiritually fit. So a lot of the language that was being used, and even present day, is that a lot of the ministers who are ministering the word in when they use this word, fitness, what's been taking place is that they've been using it in the way where we would be accountable to making sure that we were using all the formats that were in the church. And again, those being the preaching, the studying, and separate break-offs where we'd have it, the praise and the worship. And that if we would stay with all of those on a regular basis, that would actually begin to say, this is what helps keep you fit, spiritually fit, by keeping all of these active into your daily walk each and every day. And rightly so, that was very spot on to start making that parallel when they were ministering that. But God was up to something bigger than just that. As true as all that is, there's still something that God was trying to get us to understand. He was trying to get us to be aware of so that we could take that spiritual fitness that he's been wanting us to try to understand, but take it to a whole new level with a whole new format. So just like physical fitness, when we talk about physical fitness, we pretty much understand that that's a format where you go to the gym, or your favorite place of working out. Maybe it's at home with all the different devices that they have, but you realize it's a separate format. So whether you're a believer or non-believer, it's a format that simply works. And the reason it works is because, of course, God's behind all of that. He's always behind everything that keeps us growing and producing. So the idea of this format is what God was trying to get us to give an ear to give some understanding to, as to what God was wanting us to do. And what he was wanting us to do is now here. And that's a spiritual format, workout format, to make sure that we take this idea of getting spiritually fit into a separate format. And that format would be called a spiritual resistance workout. It's a workout, and it's a separate format. Now we know in the Bible, it's talked to us about that the physical body exercise doesn't really profit us that much. Therefore, we should exercise ourselves unto godliness. And we know that it's not that physical fitness doesn't profit us, my word, we know it profits us tremendously. It's in that context for profiting, meaning the period of time. The period of time that we're in this body is not eternal, and our spiritual body is. Therefore, when we exercise ourselves on to godliness, we know it's not only here, but eternally. So that's the emphasis of why it's important to exercise ourselves on to godliness. But going back to this format, what I am going to do is I am going to be giving you a series on educating you, teaching you about this format. This spiritual resistance workout format that was coming into the body of Christ. When? In these last days. In the time when we're going to need it most. In this time when we're going to need spiritual muscles more than ever because of the resistance that we are going to be experiencing. And many of you know in the news that's been going across all of the airways and a lot of this negative resistance that's been surmounting, we begin to realize there's something that needs to be done within all believers. We're seeing that even these